Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining our live webinar today on the trends and best practice in digital transformation. This is in joint collaboration with Experitest and Testhouse. I'm pleased to welcome our speakers today, Guy Ariely and Nathan Saha. Guy, the Chief Technology Officer from Experitest. Guy has a strong record in technology innovation and with more than years of development and hands-on experience in test automation. Prior to Experitest, Guy spent several years in management positions in HP, Cisco, and also 3Com. In addition, Guy founded and sold the largest local test automation services company, TopQ, to a leading publicly traded technology group called Top Group. Guy leads the largest test automation forum online and is a keynote speaker at events worldwide. He holds a BSc degree from Israel's world-renowned Technion. Nathan is a customer success manager from Testhouse. He has a proven track record of success in executing software testing and quality assurance projects, managing multiple accounts, developing strong customer relationships, and loyalty. Nathan, in the last 7 years, have dealt with complex requirements, supervising customer success staffs, establishing customer support best practices, and providing service support. He holds a BSc degree from Queen Mary University in England. Without further delay, I now pass you over to my colleague Guy, who will kickstart the session on market trends. Guy?
Hi everyone, this is a webinar from Experitest and the Testhouse that we're going to present the trends and best practice in digital transformation. My name is Guy Ariely, I'm Experitest CTO. I will present the first part and then our colleagues in Testhouse will present the other part. Let's get started. In our agenda today, I'm going to cover market trends. I'm going to cover Experitest offering, some competitive landscape, Experitest replacement offering, and our go-to marketing with Testhouse. Let's go into the current market trends, and the first thing I want to emphasize is the criticality of TAL in general. So here you can see is an event that happened in September 2019, where a bug in the Tesla backend server caused all of Tesla car owners to be locked out of their cars. In the past, all you need to get into your car was your keys, but today you need also your phone. This digital experience needs to be flawless. So this is just some example. So the first thing I want to emphasize, this is what we see all over the winner test continuously. What does it mean? Every brand, every organization that you can mark as an excellent brand in digital, if you look on how they are doing testing, you will see that all of them adopted some kind of a continuous testing. So they are executing a lot of tests. They have a continuous integration and continuous deployment. They are able to release a high quality product over time, and they can make changes very quickly. This is something that is very typical to everyone that a leading brand in digital. So you can look at Google themselves, on Amazon, on Netflix, all of them as a continuous testing, and they are doing testing at scale. And this is very important for your success. If you want your brand, your organization to be leading digital, you need to have a continuous testing. The second trend that we see is a growing demand for automation. So if in the past you could release a product with a minor automation, today, due to the growing matrix of mobile devices, where the speed and velocity that you want to release software into the market require you to have a test automation. On the other hand, it is becoming harder and harder to recruit test automation engineer. So it's create a huge demand for test automation and for tools that will support that. We see that digital testing is moving from a small workshop into a scalable production line. So it's like the industrial revolution, where a small workshop moved into an assembly line. This is how we look at quality today. So instead of be dependent of work of certain individual within your organization. You want to make it an assembly line, a production line, where you have a pipeline of stages where you test your product quality in all aspects, and everything is fully automated. We see two trends, and both of them goes into the ages. One is shift left, and the other is shift right. Shift left is testing closer to the R&D teams that have R&D member as well as a QA member within the same team, moving the responsibility more towards the R&D. And also shift right, where things are being tested also in production, and the demands are different, the quality, the tools are different, and organization need to work on both ends. Mobile is the key in digital. This is quite obvious. More and more scenarios are moved into the mobile. And due to the better experience that the mobile application provide, people prefer to use their mobile application in more and more scenarios. Most of the mailing done from the mobile, banking, media, news, everything is moving to the mobile. This is due to the fact that your mobile device is with you all the time, and it's much easier for you to access it. We see also a high focus on full user experience. User experience is becoming more and more important. Your application is not just its functionality, it's also how it is being experienced by your user, how quick, how fast it is, what is the amount of click you need for different operations. A big part of your digital application or of your user experience is related to performance. And if you look at your application market score, you will see how user experience performance is important. With regard to performance, we see that the bottlenecks are moving from the backend into the last mile. What does it mean? So if in the past the bottleneck was in your server and in the connection to the databases, the bottlenecks today are in the network and in your mobile device. So due to movement into AWS and cloud services, and to the fact that those services can scale up and down very easily, the bottleneck is no longer in your servers. In many cases, the bottlenecks are around your network and mobile devices, and the optimization need to be done in those areas. We see SaaS gaining growing approval by security team. So if in the past security team didn't allow any SaaS activity, especially not in QA where there is a requirement to access some non-production environment, today we see more and more, and the most security organization are opening into SaaS services, especially when it's come to QA services. We see that AI start to play a significant role in QA. We see it in test results classification. We see it in auto-healing of a UI element. AI is taking more significant role, and it's going to increase in the next year. Okay, let's touch a little bit about Experitest offering, what we offer in Experitest, and I will provide some highlight about Experitest. So Experitest have more than 1,000 customers, many of them in the banking and insurance industry, telco, airlines, automotive, healthcare, and other. We have today more than 8 data centers around the globe. We have a data center in US and Canada, Germany, UK, in the Middle East, Singapore, Japan, and Australia. In all of those data centers, you can get mobile devices and web browser, so you can test your digital application from anywhere around the globe. We are fully compliant with the open source, supporting Appium, Selenium, XUI test, and Espresso, and we always adding more framework and more tools. Our user are DevOps user, developer, tester, business analyst. We have two types of deployment, on-prem and SaaS, and we also have a hybrid deployment where part of the devices can be in one of our data centers and other devices can reside on your premise. We support all test type, functionality, application performance, and accessibility testing. So all of them are supported. This is an integration matrix. You can see that we have some test creation tools that integrate into Eclipse and IntelliJ. We have a codeless offering, and we also integrate with Worksoft. We integrate with Eclipse, IntelliJ, JUnit, TestNG, Cucumber, NUnit, Visual Studio, different programming language. So anything that you have within your organization is fully supported. We have analytics with integration to Elasticsearch and Kibana. We integrate with all of the continuous integration environment, Jenkins, TeamCity, Circle CI, and other. And we support all of development tools like Presso XUI test. We can integrate into your Xcode and Android Studio for debugging of real devices in the cloud. So in the core of our solution, we have a digital, mobile, and web lab. We have a full analytics and performance. We have manual testing offering, automation testing with test creation and test execution, and we have a developers tool. The value CTES bring into the Experience Digital apps are the following. So we enable our customer to fast release of high quality application. We enable them to automate in scale, support wide coverage of matrix of mobile and browser. We support single platform of mobile and web testing, real-time feedback for developer for continuous testing, and test result analytics for fast root cause analysis. We provide an efficient test infrastructure where devices can be shared inside your organization between individual and between team. We have a centralized device and browser management and enterprise level physical security in all of our data center. And we also provide easy test creation. As we see the huge demand for test automation, easy test creation is very important, as not all of your QA teams are developer. You need tools to enable them to be efficient when they are developing tests. So we support that with integration to Eclipse and IntelliJ, with a state-of-the-art code list, with easy maintenance and self-healing capability, and with our Appium desktop enhanced support. Our offering can be deployed on-prem and can be deployed in one of our data center. As I mentioned, we have also an hybrid capability where things can be resigned on a combination of those two. Here you can see our data centers location. We have one in Fremont, we have in the US, we have one in Canada, we have one in the UK, we have one in Germany, we have one in the Middle East, we have one in Japan, Singapore, and Australia. So when you accessing a lab, you can have devices in all of those locations. So a few of our SaaS solution benefits. It's a hassle-free solution. All the device purchasing and management is being performed by Experitest operation team. We are monitoring the environment 24/7 and making sure all the devices are highly available. We are very strict on security, so the solution provides you a single tenant. You are not sharing anything with other customer. Everything is dedicated to a customer. This is the case, in high security organization like banks and insurance company. And we provide advanced monitoring and alarm system, a cloud administration service, and 24/7, anytime, anywhere, global reach. So those are our SaaS solution advantages. Here you can see some of our platform capability. In the test execution, you can see the multi-region capability, so we can have devices in multi-region, large-scale grid execution, so we have customers that execute around 100,000 test cases every day. We see XUI test and Espresso integration, Jenkins plugin, codeless automation, and automation abstraction. We have a full offering for performance testing with integration into Vuegen and the Load Runner, and also capability to create a performance benchmark and compare your release with the previous release. We have integration into tools for developers, so developer can connect devices to their Xcode and Android Studio, test reports and analytics. So we provide an individual test report with logs and videos, as well as a CXO dashboard and analytics tools. We also have a test creation offering that I've mentioned. We provide support for emulator and simulator, Android TV, Android Wear, and Android for cars. And we support the latest iOS and latest versions of browser. We support accessibility testing and so on. One of our new releases is our codeless offering. It is been released beta now. The advantage of our codeless is that it is fully open source, in the sense that the test you are writing, pure Java, Selenium, Appium, TestNG, Gradle, Jenkins. So all of level in your framework, all of your software stack of the automation is fully open source. You can provide a huge advantage. It Git enabled. We provide a open source self-healing. Everything is Dockerized. So when you create a test, everything will run inside a Docker. It's BDD based and it is extendable. Okay, now the next point I want to touch on is the user experience. In the previous slide, we went over the importance of the user experience and how it impacts your business. And here you can see how we highlight the user experience to the user by showing the user the different transaction within it, the application, and within each transaction, the different metrics like duration, speed index, CPU, battery, network usage, and so on. So very easy to view whether there is a regression, an overall regression or shift in the performance of the application over time. The next thing that is very important is analytics. We offer various level of analytics, starting from integration into Kibana and the capability to do dashboarding and to customize your dashboarding, up to capability to showcase your stakeholder the value of your automation project. And this is very important, because in many cases, a lot of hard work is done on the automation level, and a lot of tests are being created, but as a stakeholder, you don't really know what is the value that it provides, and we are able to provide that visibility. As part of our roadmap, we also have things like root cause analysis and AI test results diagnostic. So one of the problems that we are seeing that is growing today is the amount of time it takes to analyze the test result. So we have customers that will spend around 50% of the automation team time just by analyzing a test execution result, and we are working on providing tools to shorten that effort. I've mentioned the Elastics and Kibana integration, and we also introduced some video reporting improvements. Something that is very important and getting more and more traction is accessibility testing in general, and automation of accessibility testing in particular. So we have a solution that enables you to automate the accessibility testing, and with a minimal efforts, get highlights of issues and bugs in your application with regard to accessibility. So it will notify you where an element is too small, or if there is no accessibility information, if there is mismatch between the accessibility data and the text that is presented on the element, the contrast of the element, and other tests that are fully compliant with different policies around that. And this area is regulated. We see more and more organizations that are giving priority to accessibility testing. Next, I would like to touch base on the competitive landscape Experitest is not the only player in the market, obviously, and I would like to share with you our view on the different competitors and the pros and cons. So this is overall landscape as we see it, and on one axis we have the enterprise readiness. How is the solution is built to meet the enterprise need from security perspective, from a support perspective, and any perspective that meets a large enterprise need. Then on the other axis, we have the functionality of the solution, how rich it is from functionality. So performance is one example, accessibility is a second example for richness of the solution. So when we deep dive into the enterprise readiness, the first and one of the most important part is the solution scalability. And here you can see that most of our competitor can scale, and it means that you can run a lot of tests in parallel. We have some competitors that we get indication that it's very hard to scale. Then the second is around whether it's a dedicated hardware or whether the solution is a single tenant or multiple tenant. When it is a multiple tenant, it means that your test result sits in the same database as other client test result, or the network, or any aspect of the solution are shared with other customers. In the case of both Experitest and Perfecto, the component are fully dedicated to the specific customer, and it provide you a much higher level of security. Then we have single sign-on support, so we see that not all of the vendors support that. Also, site-to-site VPN, it's very important capability to secure the device and browser network connectivity into your backend. SOC 2 is security compliance that is not so easy to grant, so it requires some policies and processes in the organization, and Experitest has that in full. A global distribution is also very important. It enables us to serve customer from 8 data centers around the globe, and it enables a single customer to distribute devices across those data centers. It means that if you have an offshore team in the US and offshore in India, both can enjoy very quick response time. Then we have the multi-region capability, and enables you to see different region under the same cloud. And the enterprise support, which is also very important, is our capability to take our customer, work with them on their journey of continuous testing. This is very, very crucial for our customer to mature and to be able to execute thousands of tests on a daily basis. Then the last point here is whether the solution can be deployed on-prem. This is important when you have security sensitive application and you want to combine SaaS with on-prem, and Experitest do support that. Also, from pricing perspective, we enable our customer to scale with a very compelling pricing. This is due to the architecture that we are using that enable us to use minimal hardware to provide the maximum experience. So we translate the reduction of cost into a solution pricing to our customer. And this is also important when you want to scale. If you have 10 devices, maybe the difference is not so big, but if you scale to 100 devices, then the difference can be very big. Then from a functionality perspective, Experitests have a very unique model of performance that enables you to analyze the results and compare them, create a baseline of performance and compare the latest version result into the previous version. We are the only provider that provide accessibility testing. We provide a test creation capability with integration into Eclipse and IntelliJ. You can see that not on all the vendors support emulators. Experitest do support both emulator and simulators. And we support sensor mocking and advanced authentication scenario, fingerprint authentication, as well as face recognition. So it is very important if your application has this type of scenarios. Now, with regard to replacement, in the last few months, we have placed specifically Perfecto in many of the customer. A few names are AmFam, Discover, FedEx, DBS, and JP Morgan Chase. We offer you lower price, a smooth migration process, option to hybrid with on-prem and SaaS, and very effective support team that work with you on that process. With that, I would like to move it over to Nathan.
So thank you everyone for joining us today, and thank you to Experitest and to Guy for having me. Firstly, I hope everyone is keeping safe in the current climate. I know it's very unpredictable at the moment, so all the best to everyone. As Mel said, my name is Nathan. I have been a part of Testhouse for about 7 years now. I'm primarily responsible for a number of our UK-based accounts. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about Testhouse. We are a focused QA testing and DevOps consultancy, and we have been since our inception in 2000. You know, Testhouse has adapted over the years with the trends where in the beginning, we followed a standard waterfall approach to projects. And over a few years, we adapted and we started adopting a more agile methodology in our projects. And maybe over the past 5 years, Testhouse started to shift left and utilize DevOps in a big way. So through our 20 years, we have serviced a significant number of enterprise clients globally. Providing functional testing, whether it's test automation or mobile testing or compatibility, and also non-functional testing like performance and security testing. As long as I can remember, we have been an advocate of test automation, and this is primarily due to all the benefits that we feel it brings to our clients. You know, that adds a lot to efficiency, to reliability, and also to cost effectiveness in the long run. We have approximately 500 plus employees and have significant project experience in a number of different industries. That includes banking and finance, where we actually service more than 80% of the top 20 banks in the Middle East, but also industries like oil and gas and professional services, amongst others. We are ISO certified, which personally I think is very important for a global organization. It gives clients a sense of confidence in the measures and the processes that we have in place, but also that we follow those processes, which I think is important. And the last thing I want to mention on this slide is we are the recipient of the Queen's Award for Enterprise, and it is the highest accolade for any UK-based business, and we received it for international trade, which I think is appropriate for the type of business we are. So I wanted to talk through a case study which I feel is relevant in the conversation that we're having today. And it is actually for one of the largest banks in Oman. So a little bit of background, I mean, in today's world, especially even in the current climate, we all use internet and mobile banking in such a huge way. And we all use them in a number of different devices and platforms and all that kind of stuff. It's very important today. And for this specific bank, they use Finacle for internet and mobile banking, and Terminus T24 for core banking. So when we were onboarded to this project, it was primarily to look at the manual regression testing. And what we found very quickly was that it was extremely time consuming and very cumbersome at the same time. So it actually took about 50 users 2 months, over 2 months actually, to deliver and execute the regression pack, which is a huge amount of time. There's a lot of risks that come in there, not least, you know, the amount of resources that are being used, but also it poses a huge risk of human error. Because of such a large scale of testing, there's a good chance that something very minor could make a big impact into the results of the testing. So what we decided to do was automate this regression pack. And through this exercise of test automation, Testhouse were able to reduce the test execution significantly. And in the end, it only really required 2 resources for 7 days, and that was primarily for defect management. So the reason I chose this case study in particular was because I think it highlights a lot of the benefits that we found when working with Experitest, and how Experitest allowed us to deliver efficiently. So as you probably guessed, in this project, language was a significant challenge. You have to test in both Arabic and in English. And what we were able to do through the language packs available to us, we were able to test in Arabic and then replicate that into English and vice versa, which was extremely time saving. Rather than doing it twice, you could do it once and then transfer it over with minimal effort. The features for compatibility testing, I feel, should speak for themselves, but really there was a huge number of devices that were available to us, which allowed us to have very large coverage, very large device coverage when we were doing compatibility testing. Code reusability, again, was a very huge thing for us. What it allows us to do through using Experitest was, once the scripts are generated for one device or developed for iOS, for example, they can be replicated for Android, which I think anyone involved will really recognize the value of doing something like that. C-Test also has a very accurate and reliable object identification repository, which is not as common as you would think with tools in this space. And it allowed us to code very easily, but also in some cases have codeless scripting as well. A challenge that comes up a lot of the time for mobile testing projects of this nature is the challenge of spinning up iOS environments, which is traditionally quite difficult and quite cumbersome, but with Experitest, it was made very easy. Another very important one to us specifically and to this client was the possibility to integrate this with Visual Studio. So with this, we were able to run the scripts through Visual Studio, but not only that, plug that into the CI/CD pipeline and follow a more DevOps approach. So in that sense, we were able to improve efficiency even more, and not just automate tests, but automate processes as well. And the final one is the reporting and screenshot capture that was provided to us through the tool was extremely useful. And it actually gave our clients a huge amount of confidence in the coverage that was happening, but also the quality of the tests. So I think all in all, in this project, we were able to achieve 3 main things. And those 3 things are what we strive for in all of our projects, is that we were able to increase the speed of delivery, we were able to improve the user satisfaction, and we were also able to reduce the long-term costs. So I think this was a good case study to talk about, but if there are requests for any other relevant ones, I'd be happy to facilitate that. What I wanted to talk about here is really the partnership between Experitest and Testhouse, and why personally I feel that it is a very good match, and it actually provides clear value, I think, to our clients. So Testhouse are the exclusive QA partner and reseller for Experitest in the GCC region. As Testhouse is a QA focused and testing focused organization, this made us and Experitest the perfect fit. And I think the knowledge that Testhouse has gained from working in a number of different industries and the specific challenges in those industries allows us to ensure that testing is delivered to an optimal standard. But also Experitest ensures that the tools are used to its maximum capability, which sometimes doesn't happen. Anyone that has enterprise level tools will say that, yes, it's useful, but we're not using all of the functionality when we really should be. And again, due to Testhouse's significant test experience globally, we're able to use our expertise and combine it with Experitest tools and solutions. So this allows for Testhouse's significant domain knowledge, but Experitest's significant tool knowledge. and also pairs Testhouse services with the support provided by Experitest. So through Testhouse's 20 years of service, we've built significant test case repositories over the years. And the existing assets are also available to us. And I think that will benefit the client when there's a case where we need to really hit the ground running and really start quickly when we get on board. We can also take a combined approach to training, which I think is key, where Experitest can obviously give you the best possible training for the tools in question. And Testhouse can also provide the training focused on test process and test strategy. So you kind of get the best of both worlds in that situation. We can also kind of provide a joint approach to projects where we can offer significant discounts through kind of a joint proposition, which I think is very interesting. So anyone who would like some information on that, please let us know. And I think all of the above really allows Testhouse and Experitest to jointly provide incredible value to all of our clients, where you can have confidence in two organizations that have synergy, but also have experienced collaboration. And it helps us improve our ability to deliver in an efficient way, but also with quality as well. So for me, that's all I wanted to go through today. I hope you found it interesting. And if you have any questions for me, please let me know, either during the session or outside of the session. I'd be happy to come back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nathan. We will now commence our Q&A session. Please feel free to ask Guy and Nathan a question. We will try and answer a few as time permits. And thank you, obviously, for those who have put in their questions on the chat box. So we have a few questions coming. First question is, how is Experitest competitive advantage benefits customers? Guy, that would be yourself.
Sure. So I think that the richness of the solution and the fact that one-stop shop for accessibility, performance, as well as functional, is a very big advantage that is translate into our customer benefits.
Thank you, Guy. Next question. You mentioned your focus in the Middle East. Can you tell us some of your existing clients, Nathan?
Yeah, sure, Mel. So I think I'll try and break it down into different sectors. I mean, for government, we've worked with the Dubai municipality. Retail, we've done Majid Al Futtaim. Axiom Telecom. Petroleum, we've done Enoch and Adco. Insurance, Oman Insurance, and banking, where I think we've spent a lot of time. Just a few of them would be National Bank of Kuwait, Bank Muscat, Bank Dhofar, Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank, Emirates MBD, National Bank of Bahrain, as well as others, which I'm struggling to name at the moment.
Thank you, Nathan. So we have a question as well, which relates to the current situation we are now in. Question is, how are Experitest capabilities suit the new situation of working from home due to COVID-19? Guy?
First of all, the COVID-19 accelerate the needs of organization to use mobile devices. One of the things, we did a few things. Among them, we released all of our on-prem licenses for free so people can install them on their local machine and use that. And this is been used heavily by our customer. We also introduced the accessibility testing because very big needs now due to the COVID and to the fact that people don't have access to physical devices. This is a second thing. We also find out that when people working from home, they are using their own Wi-Fi network through a VPN, and their internal network is sometimes not comparable to an enterprise network. So we improved our connectivity, so our solution will work much better, under the COVID situation. So there were a few actions that we took in order to improve and help our customer to continue with their work.
Thank you, Guy. We'll just take one more question. Regarding mobile test automation, does Testhouse have capability to test the latest devices? Nathan?
Yes, thank you, Mel. Yes, we do. I think we can use a combination of Experitest tools, but also, real devices where we have a significant mobile test lab based in India, but also in the UK.
Thank you. That concludes our Q&A session. This session is being recorded and will be available to view on demand to all attendees. A copy of the presentation is also available. On behalf of Guy and Nathan, thank you for joining us for our session today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.